Now to Mbale Thethani. She, of course, is part of our team covering this conference. Mbale, good afternoon. Who are you talking to this afternoon?
Certainly, Stephen, of course, so we continue to give you a reaction from the closing address of the President just earlier on, speaking around a number of issues, being that of poverty, of course, also being that of the energy crisis, and also just tackling a number of issues when it comes to the issue around step aside and that it remains. I'm just joined now by the ANC's NYTT. Her name is Nonceba. When it comes to issues facing the youth, unemployment is still a major concern. One of the commissions saying that it is a crisis in our country. As the youth of the country, what do you take from the policies which have been discussed that speak to you directly?
Yeah. So we've always maintained as the ANC Youth League that unemployment ought to actually be, specifically youth unemployment, actually ought to be characterized as a pandemic on its own. And we are happy that Policy Conference reaffirmed our position that if you're not going to deal with the crisis of young people who don't have jobs, who have no means to empower themselves, who are not in school, we are not going to go anywhere as a country. Every other policy that you're going to make, whether it's, social transformation, whether it's around your economy, unless if you deal with the problem or the crisis of youth unemployment, you're not going anywhere as a country. That's one. Two, we also had specific things that we said must be done in order for us to deal with the problem of youth unemployment. For an example, we've said that we are advocating for, in addition to the current dispensation around training, skills and training, we want a mass accreditation of existing skills. So over and above the work the CETAs are doing under the Department of with the Department of Higher Education and Training, we also want a mass accreditation of existing skills so that young people who are sitting in townships, rural areas, urban areas, who have the skills but we don't have the accreditation, the certificate that says that I can, build a house, I can fix a car, I can fix the camera, etc., to be able to empower themselves. We've also said that we want to closely monitor the policy around the scrapping of entry-level experience, because this is something that we've advocated for as the Youth League, to say that where we're going to get experience if we don't have jobs. You apply for an entry-level post, you're told that you must have 3 years experience. Where did you get the 3 years experience? We're happy that it was then adopted, but we have a problem with the implementation of it, because government departments, whether it's at national level, provincial level, local level, in fact in municipalities it's worse. And we are saying that we want a particular monitoring of that particular policy, because it's going to assist us with the absorption of young people. We also spoke, Mbale, about the issue around access to higher education. You would have noticed that as part of the economic downturn in the country, there have been budget cuts. But we are saying that the budget cuts can never be in the higher education sector. So your funding for NSFAS cannot continue to decrease as it has been decreasing over the last couple of years. And we are happy that a lot of the policies and the positions and resolutions that we came with as a Progressive Youth Alliance, which is the ANC Youth League and our other sister youth formations, actually were adopted by Policy Conference, particularly as it relates to the empowerment of young people in the country.
And your take on the basic income grant, especially for those struggling to find a job, especially in the youth?
Very important, very, very important. It's a position that we've always held. We are happy we are now at a point where we are discussing the modalities around it, because many of these policies, and that's the other thing about a policy conference, many of the policies would have been policies that have been taken before, and then you come and then you just reaffirm the policies. We are now happy that we are now at a point where we are talking about how we're going to phase it in, and noting the fact that majority of our people who are unemployed are young people. So we are quite happy that we are now at a point where we're talking about how do we best implement the modalities around the implementation of such a scheme.
Thank you very much. Of course, that is Nonceba. She is the ANC Youth League NYTT convener. Just talking on a number of issues affecting the youth, one in particular being something that they've spoken out against at the previous policy conference, and that is the scrapping of experience for entry-level jobs, saying that there is a major concern, especially when it comes to entry-level jobs, even though they are in government. It's back to you, Stephen.